Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, or if you're new here, hi, welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to do something a little bit different. We are going to do our top 3 suggestions, I'd say, for Netflix series that involve the Black Lives Matter movement. Obviously we've all seen it all over the internet. I think it's been quite global really.
Today we wanted to share something a little bit different with you. Obviously the news the past couple of weeks has been absolutely devastating regarding George Floyd. I'm not gonna lie, something like this hasn't hit me as much as I thought it would have had I have not known about the situation. But with it being absolutely everywhere, it's hard to ignore. Being a white person, I feel like we don't actually realise that being white we have privileges ourselves, and I have taken a little bit of time to try and educate myself on Black Lives Matter. Obviously this is a very sensitive topic. I'm not here to upset anybody, so we just wanted to share with you a couple of Netflix series that we have been watching to hopefully help educate you a little bit more on the situation.
Here in the UK it has hit us too with the protests that have been going on, and really me and Sophie just really wanted to share some series that we've watched. I know not everyone knows about it. Quite a lucky position that when I was in university it was quite a big module in my degree. I would say before that I wouldn't have been aware of it. We live in the middle of nowhere really, and stuff like that doesn't really come up in conversation a lot. I have actually put up a post on my blog that I speak about it. If you want to know anything more there, I have suggested who you should be Googling, how you can start learning, and just some ideas of where you should be looking, because I know we all get wrapped up in the media quite a bit, and the media doesn't necessarily tell the truth. A lot of the time it doesn't, and I just wanted to put out some information if anyone was struggling, and for us all to learn from this. I think the whole thing about this is that the main thing that needs to come from it is that we all learn something and we keep learning. And we just wanted to share today, you know, things that have helped us learn or become aware of the issue. And we just wanted to share it with you guys. We just wanted to make an awareness on our channel, and we just didn't want to ignore it. And we thought this would be a light-hearted way to address this and to give you guys some more information, and let us know what you think. Let us know if you've got any more suggestions of series, books that we can watch, and we're going to share our top 3 each.
The first thing that I watched on Netflix was something that was released last year, and this was called When They See Us. This is based on a true story, and the guys in it are called the Central Park 5. This happened in the late 1900s, and it involved a female who was brutally attacked in a park, and these 5 guys were arrested and interrogated by the police to confess to actually committing this crime. What I will say is this absolutely broke my heart. This was something that I watched and I did not have a dry eye. I honestly could not even comprehend the pain that these people were honestly feeling. You could tell straight away that they were innocent and that the police were just so corrupt. It just felt like they honestly just wanted someone to blame, and with these kids being black, it just seemed like the perfect excuse. One thing that I cannot comprehend is how this can happen to another human being. It doesn't matter what colour your skin is, the fact that this happened to other people was absolutely heartbreaking. One of the things that really jumped out at me was the actor who played the real Corey Wise. there was a separate film with Oprah Winfrey with the actual males who were involved in this situation, and Corey was one of the guys that went through a lot of the interrogations and was really went through it, and you can see the hurt and the pain in this guy's eyes. I was absolutely in balls of tears. It has absolutely destroyed him and his family. I'm not saying that the other 4 are, you know, this doesn't mean that the other 4 didn't go through it, but out of all of them you can honestly see the hurt and upset in Corey's eyes, and this is something that will honestly stick with me for the rest of my life. It upsets me that things like this happen to innocent people. Like, it makes me so angry. But if you're wanting to watch something to educate you about things that are genuinely happening, instead of living life in this little bubble that we live in, then I would definitely recommend watching this. It is very hard hitting. It isn't something to sit and think that you're not going to have to pay attention to. You will honestly be hooked, and every second of the way you will honestly feel your heart breaking.
The first series I will be suggesting is Madam C.J. Walker. I seen this, I think this was new this year, and when I seen the trailer for it I knew I had to watch it straight away. I feel like it integrates a lot of feminism as well as the Black Lives Matter movement. She was a very prominent figure. She was a massive business woman, but it's really interested in how she started. She actually started her business for hair products because she was working for a white woman who she did her cleaning for, washing her clothes, basically a maid for her, and Madam C.J. Walker suggested that she promotes this woman's product. It was meant to be a miracle hair grower and was meant to make your hair basically look like this white woman's. I know that hair is such a part of people's culture. Well, she said no. She said people are not going to buy off a woman like you, basically making her feel worthless because of her skin, and she decided to set up on her own. And it is her journey of her business, of her becoming the first self-made Black woman millionaire, and it is a really interesting story. It's very much she has to open the doors herself because she's not accepted in society, and women in them days obviously as well weren't meant to be these big business women. They were meant to just stand by their man and be that housewife. So that is one stigma that she was breaking. And number 2 was obviously that she was a Black woman and she was trying to move her business in New York. In them days, people did not support them at all, and people didn't like it. You could see that stores were saying, no, we won't promote your product because you are a Black woman, and I just think it's mad. But I really enjoyed that one. It's not very long to watch, and it just really gives you even the simplicity of things that are not accessible. It just gives you an idea of how much of a struggle, and it still is a struggle for people who are trying to break all these stigmas that society have. And I just think it's really sad, but it's really motivating to watch that, and I think I came away with it and I was really inspired that she had broke the mold over and over again. And I just think it's a really good series to watch.
Now, the next thing that I have watched on Netflix was something that I only watched 3 weeks ago after all of this had emerged and I wanted to educate myself a little bit more. I went onto a couple of websites and there was suggestions as to what we could watch, and one of them that jumped out to me was something called Teach Us All. This is based on a actual law series. So this was what happened between Brown versus the Board of Education. I'm so sorry if you can see me looking down. I have wrote a couple of notes so that I didn't forget. And this is honestly a true story again of situations that happen to innocent black people. The statistics in this show how black minorities were segregated going through school, and how they realised that if you were someone black in a school, then it was presumed that you wouldn't do very well and that you wouldn't leave school with the grades that you needed. The story goes through chapters which shows how, you know, things have developed over time, and it is still absolutely harrowing to see how these things are happening. One of the things that was highly recommended in this was that it all came down to parental choice and power, and they believed that education started at home. A lot of these young black males or females didn't have role models that they could look up to, but one of the things that was really nice in this was seeing some of the young boys come through and showing that they have made something of themselves. You know, anybody has the right and the means to do so, and it was just so nice to see that these things are still happening, aside from the things that are obviously absolutely harrowing.
This second series that I'm suggesting is basically the basis that I feel like everyone needs to watch this. It is the 13th on Netflix, and this really does show the basis. It really shows the history of where the Black Lives Matter movement started. I think it's really good for people to learn the very beginning so they can see how the layers have become, and how really not a lot has changed. We might think it has, but there is still a lot of people who haven't moved along with the times. I think that is a big problem. But this basically shows how if you were black, you were demonetized by the media straight away, no matter what you did. There was people who were attacked for their skin, and they would just be attacked in the street. They might be walking down the street and they'd just be attacked because of who they are and their culture. And I just think that the media demonetizing that just give people the ammunition to think that it's okay for them things to happen. I know they didn't like people speaking out, so if people from black communities spoke out, the media did their hardest to make it look like these people were dangerous, that they were harmful. And I just think it really gets my skin like giving me goosebumps right now, because it really makes me angry. It just shows how the people in power and the media have worked together, and in them days they just got away with it. No one asked why, no one questioned it. It was just, they believed it. Wow, that woman has been angry, that man has been angry, they have been aggressive, and we will take their word for it. They have done it, there we go, type of thing. And I think there was a woman in there in the series called Angela Davis, and she basically went up against them, and they tried to incarcerate her for speaking out about her experience. And lucky for her, she didn't go to prison on her first count where she went to court, but that doesn't say that she didn't get backlash elsewhere. I think this series really shows how there is a triangle here, and it is literally the media, police brutality, and them wanting to put black people in crime. They want to make them evil, and I just think that it really shows the links between them. And I think it shows how people have got their ideas. When Angela Davis was arrested, they basically tried to turn it around that she attacked them, not they attacked her. And this happened quite a lot. that they would get attacked on the street, and then when they went to court, it would actually be the police who say, actually no, they attacked me, and that would be believed. I just think that this is a really good foundation of learning about the Black Lives Matter movement. It really shows you how the media have treated Black people and how you see them questioning in such a way that it twists the truth, and it just covers so much, and I think this is one of the most important ones I would suggest to watch. It really shows you how police brutality, the media, the government, people in high places have really managed to just sweep these under the rug, and it just made it okay. So I really would say this is my top out of the 3 that I am suggesting, and if you watch any, please watch this one.
Thing that I have watched on Netflix is something called Time, the Khalif Browder story. Again, this is a real life story about a young guy who was 16 years old and got arrested for allegedly stealing a backpack. He was 16 and he was put into one of the world's biggest prisons for over 18s. He was interrogated, he was battered, he was bruised, he was mentally tortured, and the most harrowing thing is that he spent over 1,000 days in Riker Island, but over 800 of those spent in segregation. Now, segregation is somewhere where you go and it's a solitary confinement. You literally just get to stare at your 4 walls all day. You just have a bed and a toilet, and a lot of this leads to people going mentally insane because they are there for so long. I actually read an article which states that if someone is in solitary confinement, they should not be there any longer than 14 days. This is to protect somebody's mental health, and this poor boy spent over 800 days in solitary confinement. Some of the things that happened to him was absolutely disgusting. They tried to put rat poison in his food so he wouldn't eat. When his mother actually was allowed to visit him, they were saying to the police officers, like, why is he losing so much weight? Like, why is he full of bruises? What is happening to this poor boy? One of the things that I was quite interested in after studying law in my undergrad and postgrad was the fact that he was denied a speedy and fair trial. Obviously, this is a human rights and everybody has the right to this, and the fact that the NYPD just kept on pushing this back proves that there was a broken criminal system. Things definitely needed to be changed, and the fact that this was allowed to happen so late on, this was happening in the early 2000s, so if you think about it, it was only like 10 or 15 years ago, and obviously the justice system has changed so much, but it just shows like how corrupt and how broken it was, which was absolutely harrowing. But Khalif eventually got released from prison, and he had actually gone insane. They had put him on risperidone because he was hearing voices, and he stated that the risperidone made him feel like an absolute zombie. He hated the way it felt, and the heartbreaking thing about this story is that his mother found him hanging from his bedroom because of all the torture that he went through while he was in prison. And what's even more heartbreaking is the fact that his mother died exactly 1 year after he did, because she was fighting for him and trying to prove that all these things were not right happening. And it just really does like point things out that are happening. Like, just because we don't hear about these things that are happening doesn't mean that it's not true.
My final one, which I am going to suggest, is Who Killed Malcolm X. If you don't know about Malcolm X, he was a very big advocate for the Black Lives Matter movement. He was very fearless, he spoke out a lot, and he used his platform very well. He is one that I would suggest for you to look up. Again, that is on my blog as a suggestion if you want to go and read that post. But this basically gives you the idea of how his death was predicted, and how nothing was done about his death. It will tell you the basis of the story and what he did towards the Black Lives Matter movement. I feel like he is very prominent in people's opinions still today, and he is very much, his speeches, his quotes I see out there quite a lot. He very much said that, you know, if you're asking a black person to ignore this and waiver the treatment, could you ask a white person to waiver this treatment too? Which obviously, no. He did come from a Muslim community, and he left there with a lot of enemies because they basically brought him up, and then he was advocating, he was speaking out about how they were being treated, and he was gaining a lot of momentum. I think this scared a lot of people in high places. You know, they said that the FBI they knew all about him. He basically had a list of people who wanted him dead. And I just think that him speaking out should not be a reason that he should be a target. It just shows how he knew it was going to happen. In his speeches, he said, like, he basically was surprised he's not dead yet. He spoke out how black people were treated, and he was very brutally honest about that. I just think that he is a really big figure in this whole movement, and I think it's someone you need to know about. With his death, it was a massacre basically of shooting, and the police weren't really interested to sort that. And I think that just shows, you know, there was hardly any police active that day when he did that speech in the ballroom, and I just think that says a lot. But yeah, definitely go watch it. It's a big piece in history.
Those are my 3 recommendations if you're wanting to watch something on Netflix to educate yourself a little bit more on Black Lives Matter. What I have noticed as well, which I think is absolutely incredible, is that Netflix now have a little category called Black Lives Matter Collection, and this is full of films and series which can help educate you on Black Lives Matter. What we are going to do, we are going to pop our blog posts in the bio if you're wanting to read something on it, and we're also going to add a couple of articles so that you can learn more about Black Lives Matter. This is something that is going to continue. It is not something where we now need to be mute about it. This is something that needs to be carried on, and something that is spoken about and made normal so that more people are aware of the situation.
Thank you for watching. That is my suggestions on the Black Lives Matter movement, stuff that I would watch on Netflix. Obviously, we are not experts and we are far from it. We are still learning ourselves, and these are just things like at the tip of the iceberg which we would suggest people should watch. Even if you learn a little bit from these series which helps you learn about Black history, I think that is great. And this was something we really wanted to do because we didn't really want to ignore the movement, and we really do agree with the movement, and we want to do anything we can to make people aware. So that is it for today, and as I said, go on our blogs. We both have a post up about the Black Lives Matter movement, and we will see you very soon. Bye.
If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful, then please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe and leave a comment. And if there's anything else on any other topics that you would like us to touch on, then please do let us know, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.